Hashtag Marcos Duwag trended over the weekend. It's after presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos skipped an interview hosted by veteran journalist Jessica Soho. Calyodi de Guzman was snubbed in the said interview, but that did not stop him from answering the questions thrown at the other candidates. BBM supporters tried to turn the tables by making hashtag Lenny Duwag trend last night, but Vice President Leni Robredo quickly responded with a strong message to her critics. Reproduction rate in Metro Manila continues to go down, but the health department says it's still too early to downgrade to alert level 2. And meet the newest Filipino world champion, Mark Magnifico Magsayo. Fast, focused, and fearless, here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Some experts believe Marcos Jr.'s decision not to participate in the presidential interviews of GMA7 is a well-calculated strategy. Camille Samonte with the story.
The hashtag Marcos Duwag trended on social media over the weekend. This was after Bongbong Marcos skipped a presidential interview by GMA7 aired on Saturday. Vice President Leni Robredo, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno, and Senators Panfilo Lacson and Manny Pacquiao accepted the invitation. Marcos, however, declined to take part. The reason, according to his spokesman Vic Rodriguez, it was due to veteran journalist Jessica Soho's alleged bias against the Marcoses. Rodriguez also insisted that Marcos' duty is to the Filipino people and not to a particular TV show or program host. GMA7 meanwhile was quick to defend Soho from the allegations. The network noted that in particular episode, Soho boldly asked the presidential aspirants questions that needed to be asked. Lacson also defended Soho, citing his own interview with the journalist. Although not required, debates and other similar events that scrutinize candidates are staples of the election season. For some political analysts, Marcos' absence might be a political strategy.
That's a possible scenario. Sinadya nila yan para pag-usapan. Sinadya nila yan para i-stake ay yung masasabihin ng mga kalaban.
For Professor Ed Tayao, it's also possible that BBM's camp is already confident as he continues to lead presidential surveys. Tayao also cited Marcos' previous interview experience with Soho.
Sa pagkakatanda ko, sa mga nakita ko sa mga newsfeed, meron na kasing experience ng interview before with Miss Jessica, no? And that could have been one of the factors, if not the most important factor for them to, reconsider being part of the interview.
Both Tayao and Contreras pointed out that the public should focus on the candidates who showed up instead.
Tanungin natin, ano ba yung masinabi nilang mali doon, ano yung tama? We should focus more on that rather than the absence of someone who didn't want to be there.
Nasa sa atin lang yung paraan at pagkakataon ng pagtimbang kung sino sa mga kandidato ang dapat naman.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
Calyodi de Guzman admits that he feels bad after not getting an invitation of GMA's presidential interviews. The presidential hopeful said he believes media is a democratic space where personality politics is not welcome. But he lamented that mainstream media still seems to have a leaning towards candidates who are more popular and rich. That's why de Guzman feels it's a shame that Marcos Jr. did not take advantage of this opportunity.
Sayang, dapat ay dumalo siya dahil yun ay pagkakataon niya para ipakita yung kanyang plataforma doon sa ating mga mamayan, mga boboto, at masagot yung maraming mga katanungan. Nang sa ganun ay may paliwanag niya yung kanyang side. Isang pagkakataong ibinigay sa kanya na hindi na ibigay sa akin.
In an interview here on One News, de Guzman bared his personal stance on top societal issues that other candidates addressed during GMA7's interview. On the issue of same-sex marriage and divorce, De Guzman says he is in strong favor of both. He said it's important to recognize the people's right to marry who they want and also to call it quits when the marriage stops working. On the other hand, the presidential aspirant said he's not in favor of 100% foreign ownership. Now, after watching the presidential interviews of his fellow hopefuls, De Guzman said no one stood out. In fact, he said he would not vote for anyone if he were not running for the presidency himself.
Ibablanko ko na lang yung posisyong presidente. Mas buboto na lang ako sa vice president kay Walden at saka sa mga senador. Kasi hindi ko talaga, dahil sa aking experience, hindi talaga ako bumoboto sa pagka-presidente noon pa. Dahil nakikita ko yung mga programa, pare-pareho lang naman mga sinasabi, pero motherhood statement, puro mga pangako lang na wala namang laman ang mga sinasabi.
Vice President Leni Robredo clarifies that she did not decline to attend the live panel interview set up by DZRH because she is scared. DLSU political science professor Antonio Contreras revealed that Robredo declined the station's offer for a one-on-one interview. Contreras, who is one of the panelists for the said interview, also revealed that other candidates like Marcos Jr., Pacquiao, De Guzman, and Lacson agreed to participate in the panel interviews. This prompted Robredo's critics to trend hashtag LeniDuwag, which is reminiscent of the hashtag MarcosDuwag that trended when BBM refused GMA7's interview. But Robredo cleared the air, saying the only reason she declined was because of a conflict in schedule. In fact, she said she's willing to show up if the interview can be rescheduled. Now, despite improvements in COVID-19 figures, the health department says it's still too early to declare a shift to the more relaxed alert level 2 in NCR. In a Laging Handa briefing, health spokesperson Maria Rosario Vergeres says this is because of the possible underreporting of cases in Metro Manila. For now, Vergeres says they are still closely monitoring Metro Manila's COVID-19 situation. According to projections, cases in the country might peak by end of the month or mid-February.
Kahit po sa tingin natin, bumabagal na po ang pagdami ng kaso, bumababa ang numero araw-araw, pero alalahanin po natin, meron pa rin po tayong mga kababayan na hindi na po nagpapatest, meron din tayong mga kababayan na nag-antigen test na hindi po na ire-report sa DOH.
A new COVID-19 outbreak has been linked to a pet shop in Hong Kong. Because of this, experts are now studying whether people can catch the virus from animals. More of the story in this Bloomberg Quick Take.
Sure. So in Hong Kong, they did link an outbreak of COVID cases to a pet shop that was selling hamsters. There was an infected employee and some of these smaller animals then became infected. And so what that says to us, first of all, is that there is human to animal transmission. We've seen this before, even in wild populations. So we've seen this in an interesting pre-printed study that came looking at deer that had been roadkill or hunted, and from their lymph nodes, found 90% of these deer in the last year had a notable coronavirus infection in the state of Iowa. So we know that this SARS-CoV-2 virus is getting into animal populations. We see big cats, wild cats in zoos in South Africa. They just released another study showing transmission from handler to animals. So what we're concerned about is when viruses get established in animal populations, it makes it even harder to eradicate and control because reservoirs are created. So we're watching it closely. We don't want to see, worst case scenario, the virus comes back out of an animal with a lot of mutations and into a human, creating a whole nother wave of disease.
Mark Magnifico Magsayo remains undefeated and is now the new WBC featherweight world champion. This comes after the Filipino boxer managed to dethrone American Gary Russell Jr., who managed to hold the title for 7 years long. But Magsayo proved to be too much for the defending champ and won the 12-round match with a majority decision. The American later revealed that he was suffering from an injury during the bout but wanted to keep fighting nonetheless. With this, the Magnifico has managed to keep his immaculate record intact at 24 wins. Former boxing icon and Senator Manny Pacquiao was quick to welcome Magsayo to the club of Filipino boxing world champions. Pacquiao thanked him for bringing honor to the country as the latest Filipino boxing champ. Malacanang also did not skip a beat in congratulating the Magnifico for his achievement. In a statement, acting spokesman Carlo Nograles thanked Magsayo for demonstrating to the world the courage, determination, and perseverance of a Filipino boxer. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe. Philippines, we are One News.
Leave it like this for the moment.
Okay.
Hello sir, wait po. 7:50, alam po naman yung 7:50 mag-ano siya. Pupunta siya. Sir, I can't, hindi ko kayo marinig.
Sorry, nakamute pala ako. Sige, noted po. Pero if kaya naman po yung earlier po, better po.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.